Hello, everyone. This is the Insert Title Show, and I am your host, Wolf Straff. On this episode, I am going to be talking about my Clever Paper 3D model of the Arch of Constantine. I came across the Russian company Clever Paper on Amazon basically when I was looking for other cubic fun models to do, and I came across them and I was like, wow, these guys look kind of interesting. Basically, their models are very, very realistic looking. I was just blown away. I was like, wow. I mean, I always thought Cubic Fun's models looked really good, but comparing it, I mean, geez. Well, Cubic Fun's models, I guess, kind of look, very clean, very colorful, very bright, almost kind of cartoonish, I guess. But Clever Paper's models, I mean, they're very dark and I mean, they look realistic. It's kind of crazy. Like there's water damage and there's just like, the stones and stuff. I mean, their stuff really, really looks good. And the detail, I mean, is just fantastic on them models. So the first model I ever bought from Clever Paper was their St. Basil's Cathedral. And I basically had to choose between getting either Clever Paper's version or Cubic Fun's version. And the Cubic Fun, their version is actually a little bit bigger than the Clever Papers, like an inch here, an inch there. But just, I mean, just looking at the pictures was just, yeah. I mean, the Clever Paper one looked like St. Basil's Cathedral, and the Cubic Funds looked, like a kind of a cartoony version, just very bright and stuff. I mean, they both look great. It's just, I prefer realism, so I definitely went with the Clever Paper one. But when I got the model in the mail and opened it up, I was like, oh crap. Because the Clever Paper models are just one piece of cardboard paper, while Cubic Fun is two pieces of paper with a polystyrene center, so they're a little bit more, durable and flexible and tougher and stuff. So you're going to have to be very, very careful with the Clever Paper models because it's just one piece of paper. So it's like, eh. So I was actually kind of intimidated, and I actually have still not even started working on my St. Basil's Cathedral model. So yeah, just a little scared, but I did buy two smaller models from Clever Paper. I bought the Arch of Constantine and I bought the Arc de Triomphe models, and I figured, I would start with them just to kind of get used to Clever Paper and how their product works and how the model goes together and stuff. I was originally going to put together the Arc de Triomphe model first, but seeing how I'm doing all this Byzantine slash Eastern Roman Empire stuff, I figured, I'll do the Arch of Constantine model first. So as far as the model itself goes, it's actually, it wasn't too hard. It only took me like 2 or 3 hours to put together. It looks great. The detail from Clever Paper is, man, it is really, really nice looking. I mean, you can actually read the inscriptions on the model. The bricks look great. Like some parts of it actually, you can actually see the individual outlines of the bricks. Like, I mean, the detail work on this model is just fantastic. I mean, I can't wait to start my St. Basil's Cathedral. I mean, the detail is just going to be amazing, and it's going to be so beautiful when it's done too. But yeah, the Arch of Constantine model is really, really cool looking. The only part I had trouble with was the columns, because you basically have to wrap them around each other to make it a column basically, because it comes as a flat piece of paper, so you kind of have to fold it into a cylinder basically, and then put the bottoms and tops on and stuff. It wasn't tough, it just took a while. Like that added probably like an hour to the model, but other than that it was pretty easy. Yeah, you just have to be very careful because you can scratch the detail off the paper. I mean, this is like seriously a thin piece of cardboard paper, so just be very easy, very gentle with it. Yeah, and especially if you're putting pieces together and stuff, definitely try not to scrape them because the paper underneath the detail is white. So yeah, it's gonna definitely show on a dark model, but yeah, once I finished it, looks great, and it's really cool, really cool. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with clever paper. You just, you have to know what you're doing and you have to be careful. It was kind of nice of them to throw in a toothpick. That definitely helps, getting the pieces out and stuff. So that was nice of them. The instructions are kind of vague, but good enough, I guess. I mean, they don't really have any writing. They just show you on the pictures what to do. So as long as you pay attention, you should be able to figure it out, I guess. It looks cool, and it is cool, so I'm definitely happy with it. Now, the real life Arch of Constantine is pretty freaking cool. It's pretty big tourist attraction, actually, because it's pretty close to the Colosseum. So, I mean, if you're going to the Colosseum, you might as well check out the Arch of Constantine. Too bad there's a stupid fence blocking it, but I mean, naturally, if I go all the way to Rome, I'm going to want to, touch it and walk underneath it and stuff. So I guess it's okay if I touch the arch, but the problem is, 3 million tourists every single year touching the Arch of Constantine. I guess that could be a problem. So that's probably why the fence is there. But yeah, it's pretty cool looking. The history behind the arch is pretty amazing. It was commemorated in 315 AD to celebrate Constantine's victory over Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Bridge. And with Constantine winning the battle, he became emperor of both the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. And I mean, this was one of the biggest moments in history. I mean, this battle was huge, huge. Well, first of all, there were like 200,000 Roman soldiers going at it. I mean, this really was a battle for the empire. But with Constantine becoming emperor, I mean, he instituted so many big, radical, earth-shattering changes. I mean, he did everything from monetary reform, like creating the new gold coin, the solidus, which would be, the standard currency of the Byzantine Empire for a couple of centuries. And he would go on to fight many wars and campaigns against the barbarians, basically expanding the borders of the empire. But probably the most important thing he did was what he did with Christianity, because right before the Battle of Milvian Bridge, he saw a sign. We will never know what it was, but it was, a pretty powerful sign in the sky. Some people say it was like fire and bright lights and stuff. So I guess he interpreted it as angels or a sign from the Christian God that you're going to win the battle, basically. So he had his soldiers write the Cairo on their shields and stuff, which is basically the first two letters in the Greek alphabet of Christ's name. So basically XP superimposed on each other from the Greek word Christos, Christ. So that's where we get that symbol from. And that was like one of the first signs of Christianity ever. So that was a pretty big deal. And Constantine kind of evolved over time with Christianity. Basically, first he ended the state-sanctioned persecution of Christianity. And then, a couple of years would go by, and then he would get a little more interested. Like he even had the Holy Church of the Sepulchre built, which is the spot where Christ was crucified, and also it covers a spot where his tomb was, where he was found missing on Easter morning. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal. And Constantine's mother, Helena, was very interesting. She was basically a early archaeologist in many ways. But she was very important in the early years of Christianity because she was a devout Christian and went around the Levant finding things like relics and all kinds of stuff and building churches all over the place. So she was almost as big an impact on Christianity becoming the major religion that it is now as her son Constantine was. I mean, Constantine actually, right before he died, wished to be baptized and thus became the first Christian Roman emperor. So that was a big deal. And yeah, basically Christianity became the religion of the Roman Empire. And that's probably the only reason why Christianity is still around and is as big as it is, really, because at this time Christianity was a persecuted cult in the empire. And so when Constantine took all the restrictions and all the state-sanctioned persecution off of it, it had room to grow. And then by him becoming a Christian before his death, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So in many ways, the only reason why Christianity is what it is today is because of Helena and Constantine. Of course, Jesus Christ and the apostles kind of had something to do with it too, but, you know. But yeah, Constantine, I mean, he was just an amazing man. Just his life was just fascinating. I mean, he was born in modern day Serbia. Hell, I think they even have an international airport there named after him. I think it's like Constantine the Great's international airport. That's pretty cool. And I think he proclaimed himself Augustus or Caesar in England, one or the other. And I mean, he just went everywhere. I mean, he went to the Levant, he fought all over Eastern Europe, he founded the city of Constantinople. Now, granted, there was the older city, Byzantium, but he renamed it Constantinople after himself. And in Greek, I think that means city of Constantine or Constantine's city. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And, Constantinople would go on to be one of the greatest cities in the world, especially in the ancient era. I mean, it's right up there with Rome and Alexandria. So, yeah, Constantinople was just an amazing city that he founded. And he made it his capital naturally, too. So, yeah, but I mean, he just did some amazing stuff. I mean, I could go on about Constantine for an hour, but I think that's a little bit more than this episode requires. But yeah, I mean, Constantine's just amazing, and his arch is pretty freaking cool. But yeah, one of the things about the arch is historians can actually tell that the arch is actually made up of composite materials from other monuments. Like, they can tell, wait a minute, this is from Hadrian's monument, this is from Marcus Aurelius's monument. So I guess the Senate or whoever commemorated the arch was being kind of cheap. So they didn't actually build the arch from scratch. They actually took pieces of other monuments and just put them together for Constantine's arch. So that's kind of funny that they were being cheap about it, but I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool arch. I have to say, Constantine had a pretty cool name. His full name was Flavius Valerius Aurelius Constantinus. Now, if you add in his titles, it gets a little more interesting. His full name when he was emperor was Imperator Caesar Flavius Valerius Aurelius Constantinus Augustus. So, yeah, it's a pretty badass name. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that Augustus, Caesar, and Imperator are all individual titles. That's pretty cool. In fact, I think Constantine was the second longest ruling emperor in the empire's history. Second only to the man himself, Augustus. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, I mean, he just had an amazing life, man. And this arch is definitely one of the best monuments devoted to him. Now, of course, if Constantinople was still called Constantinople, I guess that would be his greatest monument, I guess, to his memory. But, the arch is pretty cool, too. Now, the inscription on the arch, which you can actually see on the model, is in Latin, of course, because this was in Rome. Now, if it was in the eastern part of the empire, it would have been in classical Greek. But just in case you're curious, the inscription says, "To the Emperor Caesar Flavius Constantinus, the greatest, pious, and blessed Augustus, because he, inspired by the divine," hearkening back to that vision he had before the battle, "and by the greatness of his mind, has delivered the state from the tyrant and all of his followers at the same time." Basically meaning he killed, all of his enemies at the Battle of Milvian Bridge. "With his army and just force of arms, the Senate and people of Rome have dedicated this arch, decorated with triumphs." And of course they have to have the SPQR in there. I love that symbol. Good old gladiator. But that's a pretty cool inscription, and I think it was definitely written to please everyone because it mentions the pious, probably hearkening back to his pagan roots, but it also has the inspired by the divine part, meaning the Christian God thing is going on too. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. But Yeah, I mean, this model was really great. It looks great on my bookcase, and it's definitely pretty cool, man. So if you want to get your hands on one, feel free to. And definitely, if you want to learn more about Constantine, I mean, he really is an amazing man. Definitely one of the most important people who ever lived. Absolutely. And you have to remember, too, because of him, Christianity is the largest religion in the world right now. So, yeah, Constantine was definitely influential, powerful, and he definitely earned the title of Constantine the Great during his lifetime. So, yeah, it's pretty cool having this model. It was fun to put together. It was a lot of fun to learn more about the model and Constantine himself. I definitely cannot wait to go to Rome one day and actually see the real arch. Hopefully I can touch it, but if I can't, at least I'll get a damn picture with it, I guess, at the very least. But yeah, anyway, if you guys want to get the model, feel free to. Like I said, it's pretty fun. Just be careful putting it together, but I think it looks pretty cool. So yeah, if you're interested, go get one.